Have you been wanting to raise your own animals but feel overwhelmed? You don't know where to start? You don't have much space, and honestly, you're afraid to mess things up or that you don't have enough time to do it right. I've been there.
Hey, baby.
You don't need a barn, acres of pasture, or even tons of experience. We've raised animals for over 3 decades, and I'll show you what's worked best for us. In fact, some of the easiest and most productive animals to raise can be done right in your backyard. Today, I'm going to walk you through the best starter animals for small homesteads: chickens, turkeys, ducks, quail, and even rabbits. These animals are low maintenance, space efficient, and perfect for the beginner. Plus, these animals close the loop for any size homestead, feeding your family, turning that waste into rich, fertile soil, which is going to increase your yields in your vegetable gardens and your orchards. And all of this gives you a deeper connection with your food and your land. If I had just one animal to recommend, it would be chickens. They're low maintenance, they're productive, they're easy to raise, as long as you keep a couple things in mind. This is where we started. I like chickens because they require the least amount of my time out of all of our farm animals. I don't have to clean their coop on a daily basis. It can go weeks and even months without cleaning. It'll all depend on how many chickens you have, how big your run is, and if you let them wander and roam outside or not, which is actually really good for them as well as your land. By letting your chickens out to free range, this not only gives them exercise, but they're going to fertilize the area that they're in. It also keeps bugs down, which means less bugs in your orchard as well as your garden. And it enriches the eggs. But here's the thing when you let chickens out. If they don't have their own fenced-in area, and you have a vegetable garden with new seedlings or new plants, your chickens will destroy it, and it'll only take minutes. Chickens are basically little rotor tillers, which is great if you want them to till up your compost, or at the end of the season at fall and you're done with your garden, you can let them go in there and they'll eat all of the leftover bugs, the garden debris, and help break it down and turn that soil, making it richer than it was to begin with. Chickens won't disturb established trees, shrubs, or woody perennials. So if you want to love your chickens and not resent them, then make sure that they have their own fenced-in area. And make sure that you get this prepared ahead of time before you get your chickens. There's 3 ways to start your flock. And raising chickens goes beyond the scope of this video, but don't worry, we've got other videos coming up real soon for that. There's baby chicks, which are usually only a few days old that you can acquire from your local farm stores or even a local hatchery. They can come mail order, or you could even incubate your own. And then there's pullets. Pullets are female chickens that are 6 weeks old or older but not laying yet. Now the problem with pullets is you don't have as many choices or breeds to choose from, and they cost a little bit more. But you get to bypass all of the heat lamps and all of the troubles that come with baby chicks. And maybe you want to just jump right into a laying hen. Now these are great because they're already laying. There again, you don't get as many choices, and you want to make sure that they are no more than a year old, because chickens do their best laying within the first 2 years and then they start to decline. You also want to make sure that you're bringing home a healthy hen. You don't want any that have any problems, because that can last for years on your property. You want to make sure that they have a full plumage, that their feet and their legs are extremely healthy. Make sure that you're buying them from a reputable source as well. Look over their flock before you take your hens home. Make sure that they're healthy, because you want to start your flock off healthy too. I like to start my chickens with baby chicks, whether it be mail order or I'm incubating myself. Yes, it takes a lot more time and more equipment, but I love the whole experience, and I can start them on organic feed as well. This is excellent for kids too. They get to experience how to raise farm animals on a small scale, and they learn where their food comes from, which is really important because it seems to be lost these days. The fun thing about chickens is there's so many different breeds to choose from. You got all kinds of different color eggs, sizes of chickens, their funky feathers. These are all the fun things that you get to start picking out, and you don't have to be just stuck with one type. There's dual purpose chickens as well, which just means that they're good for meat as well as good egg layers. And chickens have all kinds of different personalities. They can be skittish, calm, and friendly. There's just the right chicken for you. I put together a free PDF for you on my favorite chicken breeds, as well as several others that are great chickens for the backyard or small homesteads. This includes colors, their temperaments, whether they're cold or heat tolerant, and you can check that information out or that link out in the description below. Chickens will start to lay eggs anywhere from 4 to 6 months, depending on the breed that you get. And that's a pretty good return, in my opinion. And they are the best tasting eggs that you'll ever have. And then the eggshells can be put into the compost pile or ground and put into the garden soil. This is a great source of calcium for things like your tomatoes, peppers, and squash. When you have an abundance of eggs, which we do quite often, then you can freeze dry them for when the egg production is slower, either in the winter months or during the summer months. They reconstitute beautifully. Chicken manure is an excellent free soil amendment, and it's loaded with minerals. You can compost it, or you can apply it raw in the fall after your garden's been pulled out, as long as you're not planting anything for the next 6 to 8 weeks, because chicken manure is pretty hot. So you get to have chickens for you and your kids to experience another step towards self-reliance. Your chickens will help you with bug control. You get excellent quality eggs. And really, just the joy of having chickens is well worth it. I love watching my chickens every single day through every step of their stages. Raising chickens can be more than just for eggs. We raise meat chickens 2 times a year. This is a high quality meat, and we raise them organically. The type of meat chicken that we raise is a Cornish X-Rock, and these are a non-GMO bird. We start our meat chickens off the same way we do for our egg-laying chicks, for at least the first 2 weeks. After 2 weeks, I start to feed them a game bird. This helps bulk them up a little bit faster. Then once they get that 2 weeks old, I start to free range these chickens because they do grow really fast. And one thing about meat birds is their manure is very smelly and they poop a lot. And so free ranging them means that it's healthier for them and it's less cleanup for me. Meat chickens grow really fast. The earliest that we've processed them was at 5 weeks, and the longest we've gone is 8 weeks. And this produces anywhere from a 6-pound to an 8-pound chicken. And I think that's a really good return for excellent quality meat. If you're new to processing chickens and you're a little nervous about it, see if somebody in your area does it and ask if you can help. This is an excellent way to get in, help, and learn. And this is a great way to build community. I think meat chickens is one of the best first steps of raising your own meat. Now, having eggs doesn't mean it has to come from chickens. Ducks lay a wonderful quality egg. They're creamier than a chicken egg, and they're 30% larger, and they're excellent to use for baking. Ducks lay just as many eggs as chickens do, if not more. They can lay anywhere from 250 eggs to 300 eggs a year, and they're excellent bug-eating machines. These are my best defense against grasshoppers, slugs, and snails. We have a duck run that runs around the perimeter of our garden, and the ducks are really good at keeping the bugs that come into the garden. At least minimizes it quite a bit. And also, we've got some trees that go around the perimeter, and the ducks are excellent for fertilizing those trees, and I've never had to fertilize those trees yet. They can also be let out on a lawn. We let them out into our orchard. They fertilize, and then they get to play in the sprinkler and just be ducks. Ducks don't rototiller your soil like chickens do, but they will trample it, and they absolutely love young tender seedlings or transplants. We have some 8-inch raised beds in our main garden, and they'll hop up in those without any problem at all and kind of destroy by trampling. Now, if you had some tall raised beds, usually 2 foot or taller, they're usually not going to get up in those because domestic ducks don't really fly. They will do a little fly jump, and they can get up into beds that are usually about 18 inches. But anything more than that, it's never been a problem for us. So if you've got some tall raised beds, you can let your ducks out in that area, and they'll be your best bug control you could ever imagine. If you live in a neighborhood, you might want a quiet duck, and there's several choices for that. One of the quietest is the Swedish as well as the khaki Campbell. So there is a duck for everyone. You don't have to have a pond to raise a duck either, so they'll be great for small areas. They do love running through sprinklers, but if you had a kiddie pool, a basin, or even an old tub, your ducks will love you for that. We've got an old bathtub here that we've converted into a duck pond. There's a little ramp up into it. We've got a lot of things that are overgrown in it, so this gives the ducks just their kind of private little space, and it's just tucked in the corner of our orchard. Ducks love their water so that they can just be a duck, but they don't have to have something to swim in. As long as they have something that they can dip their beaks in so that they can clean their nostrils, they'll stay happy and healthy. Turkeys can also be raised in your backyard for eggs as well as meat. Turkeys are a little bit more fragile and they require a little bit more care. When they're young, you don't want to start them with chick starter, but you want to start them with a turkey starter that's higher in protein, usually about a 28 to a 30%. Turkeys do get more confused than other poultry, especially when they're young. So you might find that you have to encourage them to drink water by dipping their beaks into water several times a day, at least for the first few days. And then after that, you may find that you have to monitor them more often, just to make sure that they're not getting dehydrated. One thing that I absolutely love about turkeys is they're so curious, and the way their eyes shift around and they watch you go through the barnyard and follow you. I totally enjoy this, and they're a great addition to our little place. I do have a suggestion when it comes to raising turkeys in your backyard. Turkeys can fly, and that can get them into a lot of trouble, especially the heritage breeds. You don't want them ending up in your neighbor's yards. So having a covered area for your turkeys is really important to keep them safe. And I like the bronze-breasted. One thing about them is once they start to get older, they don't fly. And we do use them for meat, and they can produce 40 pounds of meat once they've been processed. And that's a lot of meat for one turkey. Like all the other poultry, they're also excellent for pest control. Some of their favorite snacks are flies, grasshoppers, and beetles. If you're very limited in space, then quail might be a good option for you. We've raised them on and off throughout the years. The nice thing about quail is from the day that they're hatched to 6 weeks old, they can start to lay eggs, so that's really a quick return. They are tiny eggs, but they're very nutrient rich. They're high in protein, vitamin B, as well as iron. They require minimal space. They absolutely thrive in small cages, hutches, and stacked systems. They're great for urban homesteads, balconies, and backyard setups, and they only require 1 square foot per quail. They're also an extremely quick meat source. They're ready anywhere from 6 to 8 weeks. They are tiny, but they're easy to process. They're actually quite a quiet animal. The males will make a soft trill sound, and the females are absolutely quiet. So they're perfect for backyards and close neighborhoods. Quail are quite efficient on their food. They eat small amounts, but like turkeys, they need a higher protein. So a 28 to 30% protein is good for them. And the nice thing about quails is you can actually put their cages right over the top of the compost pile, so you have no cleanup. Their manure is rich in nitrogen and phosphorus. And one thing that you need to know about quail is they don't have those homing instincts like chickens. When you let them out during the day, they're not going to go back into their cage. And also, their cages shouldn't be tall because they frighten pretty easy. They're a little skittish. And so a low cage or a padded ceiling cage is better for them so that they don't hurt themselves. Another excellent animal for small homesteads and for starting out your animals on your homestead is rabbits. They can be used for manure as well as meat. Now, we don't care for rabbit meat, so we just basically raise them for the grandkids and the manure. The manure is great because you can apply it right onto your plants, work it into your soil or around your soil, unlike you could any of the poultry manure that is hot and that'll burn your plants. Rabbit manure is excellent, full of minerals, and it's a great way to fertilize for free. Raising rabbits doesn't require much space. A hutch is just fine for them, but a run that they can get out and exercise is going to make the rabbit happier and a lot healthier in the long run. This is the flop ear rabbit, and they're not good for meat. If you want to raise meat rabbits, then choose a larger breed like the New Zealand or the Californian. And they're quick to reproduce, giving you more meat in a shorter amount of time, and so they're very efficient. And the maintenance on rabbits is super easy. When I go out to milk in the morning, the first thing that I do is grab a scoop, go in there and just scoop up all of their manure, put it around a plant or put it in the compost pile. Fill up their water and their feed, and I'm done. All of these small animals are pretty easy to care for, but that doesn't mean that they're carefree. If you had a self-waterer or even a self-feeder, that minimizes the work. But they should be checked on at least once a day to make sure that everything is working well, especially when the temperatures are extremely high or extremely cold. Make sure that you know that your animals are safe from predators. Know if you have things like hawks, owls, fox, or raccoons. All of our animals get to roam during the day, especially when I'm out here, but at night they all get tucked away safely to protect them. Let me know in the comments if there's an animal that you're excited to get started with, or one that you're already in love with and have on your little homestead. And if you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up and share it with your fellow homesteaders. I've got more videos in this series coming up, so make sure that you subscribe if you haven't already. Have a great day and a better tomorrow. God bless.